Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be discussing the Eric and Lyle Menendez story. As a survivor myself, I wanted to discuss this case and talk about all the different issues that are brought up from this case and how I think it would be handled today rather than how it was handled all of those years ago. So let's get into it. So for those of you that don't know my story, I was sexually abused by my grandmother and her long-term boyfriend from the age of 3 to 11, and that familial abuse was devastating for me and for my family, and caused a lot of pain and trauma, and luckily I have gotten to a point in my life where I feel I have healed from that, but that is not an easy road or something that happens fast. I believe that through that experience I have become a lot stronger as a person, but I don't credit those people or that happening as to why I am the person I am today. I credit myself and my perseverance and my resilience as why I am the person I am. So with all of that said, I think that as far as Lyle's case goes, he was sexually abused by his father, which is incredibly heart-wrenching. And then as he learned this from his father, he ended up sexually abusing his younger brother, Eric. And Eric was then, once Lyle moved away from the house, since he was the older brother, Eric began getting sexually abused by his father, and did for the duration until finally he shared that information with Lyle, and together the two of them murdered their parents. Both Lyle and Eric had experienced psychological and emotional abuse from both of their parents. They didn't get all of the love and support and affection that children need and crave growing up. Eric and Lyle Menendez are survivors. They were victims of their mother and father. And while that doesn't give you the right to kill someone, it is a reason. And while they did this horrible thing, a horrible thing was done to them. Their way of defending themselves in that moment with not feeling safe and knowing that more abuse would ensue if they didn't do this action. And I'm not saying that what they did was correct by any means, but I think that in a criminal justice system now it would be handled a lot differently than it would back then, all those years ago. And it's been really interesting to watch the show on Netflix as well as the documentary. And it's been very interesting to see how the media perceived them, and the fact that they came from such a wealthy family, and the spending and all of these other things was a way for them to gain control back because they lacked so much control as children. And it's heartbreaking to see how the media responded to their explanation of what happened and their testimony, because the amount of victim blaming and further trauma that ensued due to it becoming such a public matter is heartbreaking. And I think sexual assault survivors are viewed in a very different light now than they were back then, especially male sexual assault survivors. Society has changed from then, as you would hope, as you would wish. But I think there's still a lot more that needs to happen, of course. I honestly believe that they would not have been sentenced to life without parole if the case happened nowadays. And I'm very curious to see what happens with their case if they're able to get parole and be released. But time ultimately will tell with that. The criminal justice system is very flawed, and it's heartbreaking, but I've worked in the court system, and I've also been through the court system as a survivor testifying, and it is in no way victim friendly, and that is really unfortunate, but is how the system currently operates. I would love for that to change, but who knows when or if that will change. Unfortunately, things in the government and politics and all these really difficult matters, change occurs very, very slow. I wanted to kind of open up the floor to say that as a survivor of sexual assault, if I had been in their position, which obviously I was not, I'm not sure I would have handled it any differently. And I don't think anyone has the right to look at their case and say, oh, I never would have done what they did, because you weren't in their shoes, you didn't experience what they did for all of the years that occurred. So you have no idea how you would have reacted in that situation. I think people often judge what they don't understand, and just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it's not a reality. And there are multiple realities, some conflict, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. They coexist altogether. There can be multiple realities in one situation. Everyone has a different perspective, everyone experiences things in a different light, and ultimately I have been very impressed by the way that Eric and Lyle have been able to heal their relationship as brothers after what Lyle did. And he did that as a child to another child, and that is extremely common. When you are sexually abused as a child, you learn that that's almost normal, and no one just begins to sexually abuse other people. It's rooted from somewhere. You learn it from someone, and that's been proven time and time again, and definitely is in this case. But I've been really amazed to see how they have healed their relationship and have really stuck together, and the vulnerability and their ability to discuss all these extremely hard things that happened to them so publicly. And the attention that their case has gotten recently is really profound, in the sense of people are starting to understand that no victim or survivor of sexual abuse is a perfect victim. Everyone is flawed, and no one is going to handle however you handle that type of victimization in the way that the criminal court wants it to be handled, or in the way that every single person perceives it should be handled. Ultimately, there are going to be people that disagree with you. I just wanted to give that perspective to people and to raise awareness. It takes a long time to really understand and grasp what you experienced. So definitely with these types of cases, keep an open mind. Realize that you have no idea what they really went through. You can hear everything. You can listen to the court testimony. You can watch all of these interviews and everything, but you still don't know what happened. The only people that know what happened are the people that were there. Lyle doesn't know exactly what happened to Eric. Eric doesn't know exactly what happened to Lyle. You don't know exactly what happens in that family, in that dynamic. And I think people get lost in these stories, but they're not just stories, they're people. They're real events that have happened. They're people's lives. And I wanted to give a survivor viewpoint. So thank you for watching, and I would love to hear your perspectives in the comments. Please be kind, please be understanding, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.